Alrighty, so let's go over what we went over in class. So we talked about images. The tag for images is img. Let me get rid of this preview. So you're going to use an img tag, and you're going to use a source. Okay, source lets us know like where is the image, like where do I actually go to find the image. The cool thing about Visual Studio Code is that it has IntelliSense to help us find the folder where the image is. So in this case, if we look on the left, I have an HTML folder and I have an images folder. It's very typical to have a separate folder for images. So I want to be able to navigate to the images folder. So I want to get out of my current folder and go up a level. So you're going to do dot dot slash. Remember, if you just do dot dot, you're not going to see anything from IntelliSense. You have to actually do the slash part. And notice how IntelliSense tells me, okay, cool. These are the folders that are at this level. All right, so dot slash will give me what's currently in my current folder. If I want to go up a level, I'll do dot dot slash. I'll go to images and cat1.jpg. All right, IntelliSense helps out greatly. I also have this alt property, which basically means that, hey, if you can't show the photo, then just show some text that says cat photo. I do live preview. There is this handsome cat. Okay, which is cat1.jpg in the images folder. If for some reason they can't find this image, so for example, let's say I just like do a typo. Okay, there is no file cta1.jpg in images folder. It will show us this little like icon basically saying I can't display this image because I have no idea what you're talking about. But we also have the alt text here, cat photo, and the alt text is very important because it's for it's to let people know like what the heck was this photo supposed to be. Or for people who are like visually impaired, they use this text to figure, as a description of the web page that they're looking at. So let me fix this. Go back to cat. All right, so images are pretty straightforward. Okay, so are links. Okay, the A tag is for links, and you're going to use href basically to give it a web address. So when I click on this link, it will go to google.com. So href equals, and then you put the link to whatever website it is you want to link to. Okay, pretty straightforward stuff. All right, let's look at our CSS. So for CSS, remember we have two ways to target things. We can target things by their ID, or we can target things by their class. So if you notice that HTML is pretty freeform, you can just type what you want. So you can just give something an ID and make the ID whatever you want. So for example, I have this div tag, which is kind of like a placeholder. And I just said that this div tag has an ID of Bob. I just decided that. There's no rule, you decide that. It's good practice to have IDs be unique. So only one element on your page can have this ID. I should not have another element that's named Bob. So for example, I should not later on have this. Okay, Bob should be unique across the page. Now that's on you as a developer to do that because HTML doesn't stop you. Like there's nothing stopping you from doing that. You as a developer have to ensure that there's only one ID on the page. As far as classes are concerned, you can have as many classes as you feel like. So these two elements are both Bob class, so they share it. Now, I have this styles.css, and I use it to target elements on the page and give them styling. This hashtag is pound is for ID, and this dot is for classes. So hashtag Bob is to target anything with an ID of Bob. Dot Bob class is to target anything with the class of Bob class. All right, so that's all you gotta remember is the hashtag versus the period. And then after that, you can give it some styling. So you can be like background color, color. So you can see there's a ton of stuff you can do. As far as like what the different things are that you can apply styling to. So you basically, all I have to do is basically do what's the property you're trying to add styling to, and then what's the value. The cool thing with color is you have this like color picker, which allows you to pick a very specific shade of blue or whatever it is you need. This could be important if you're doing branding, like for your company. You have to use a specific color for your company's logo. Typically, your company should give you the RGB value or the hex value for whatever it is the color you're using, but maybe they don't. All right, now notice that this styles.css is in a different file than my HTML file. That's fine, that's typical, right? We could put it in the same HTML file, but we'd rather link to it. So in the head of the HTML file, I'm going to do link rel equals style sheet, href equals, and I'm going to go find the CSS. So remember, we're going to do // and then we're going to try to find that CSS folder and bring in that styles.css file. That way that the HTML file knows that that file exists. It will bring in those styles, and if we take a look at what we've got, we can see that the ID of Bob is blue, and then Bob class is both green. Okay, so that is the way we can bring in CSS to do styling. Again, you don't have to like have it in a separate file. It's just like it's good because your styles files will get really big as time goes on. I don't want them all in here. But if you want to put CSS, in the file, all you gotta do is have this style tag, and then you can just start writing CSS. You'll see this out in a while because people are lazy; they don't want to make a separate file. So you'll see this, just wherever. All right. So pseudo selectors we also talked about. They're pretty straightforward. Let's say you have. Let me uncomment this actually. I will comment this. Control KC. All right, we've got the hover. So basically, these are like little animations. Like pseudo selectors allow us to add little animations or little effects to things. So, for example, I would like when I hover over a link for it to be yellow. So if I do this, I'm not clicking it. I just have my mouse over this link. It becomes yellow. Okay, that's what this :hover is, a pseudo selector. These are pretty cool. It allows us to add some interactivity when the user does stuff. So I'm going to comment this out with Control KC and do Control KU to uncomment this. Okay, now active. Active is when you're like the user is like clicking on it, right? So right now I'm clicking on this link and holding it down. That is causing it to be yellow. If I let go, it will stop being yellow. Okay, active is used for like buttons and links. Okay, there's more pseudo selectors you can look up, but this is the basic syntax. Okay, it's about interactivity. When the user interacts with our like page on some level, like clicking something or hovering over something, we can add a style. The last thing we went over was nth child, which is I'm honestly speaking not used that much, but like it's still good to know. Okay, nth child will basically like apply a style to every item that like basically fits a criteria. What I mean by that is I have this list, this li tag, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to apply the background color blue violet to every odd numbered item. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. So I have all these items here, and I want to just apply this purple background to the odd numbered ones. Well, I can do that by doing 2n plus 1. So the way you can think of it is n is basically the what's called the index, meaning the number in the list of the item. So it starts at 0. Okay, this is 0 index, meaning you start counting at 0. So this first item, n will be 0. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. So it will be, okay, cool, I'll apply it to 1. Second item is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. Then that way goes to this one. See how it works? So it will just basically just go through and be like, okay, I will, whatever satisfies this equation will be the things that I highlight. So you can do things like, if you don't want odd numbers, so you want the even ones, okay, then you just do like 2n. If you don't have n, like for example, you just do a constant, it will just like apply the style just to that one. Okay, this one's pretty useful when you have to do it like for different things. Although like when we start doing like React and stuff, it may not really be all that useful, but it's still good to know.